Have you ever noticed how the strongest people are the ones most likely to be forgotten? Yeah. The more you hold it all in, the more people just leave you to deal with it alone. Sounds backwards, right? But it's one of those uncomfortable truths no one likes to admit. The ones who always stay strong, quietly swallowing their pain, end up invisible. Not because they're weak, but because everyone's gotten used to their strength. And here's the kicker. This isn't even about other people, it's about what you learn to accept. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that loving meant enduring everything, that being good meant never losing it, that showing pain meant losing respect. But while you're busy holding everyone else up, who's holding you? Spoiler, no one. Why? Because deep down, some part of you thinks asking for help means you failed. That being tired means you're not enough. That has to change. This video's about exactly that. Why being the strong one isn't a sign of balance, but often a sign of self-neglect. Why your relationship with yourself might be quietly falling apart. Something Carl Jung talked about nearly a century ago. You're gonna start seeing this rock-solid image for what it really is, an emotional prison. And most importantly, you're gonna walk away with real tools to start breaking free. Because holding it all in all the time, that's not strength. That's survival. And it's exhausting. Some people learn to survive by being tough all the time, like they're wearing invisible armor. They don't cry, don't ask for comfort, never show weakness, and they end up mistaken for someone who doesn't care. But behind that whatever face is a soul begging for connection. It's not coldness, it's protection. It's a subconscious way of staying in control, in a world that's hurt them more than once, especially in close relationships. The strong one is often the person who says, "I'm fine," even when they're falling apart inside. Jung once said that what we don't face in ourselves doesn't just vanish. It hides in the shadows. And that's where it gets dangerous. Because while the world claps for your strength, you're slowly disappearing. You know that friend who never complains, always handles things on their own? Yeah, they're usually the ones silently screaming for care, but no one notices. That fake strength builds a wall, not to protect, but to isolate. In relationships, this becomes the partner who feels nothing, when really they feel everything. Independence becomes a mask for insecurity. And the worst part? People start to prefer it. Someone who never asks, never complains. They're easy to deal with. But inside, that person is fading. And that takes us deeper into this emotional maze. When you're used to never asking for help, you start to seem bulletproof. You handle everything, care for everyone, keep smiling. But the cost is brutal. What others call strength might just be you forgetting to care for yourself. And deep down, the subconscious starts making deals. If I don't bother anyone, maybe I'll be loved. But that mindset crushes your soul. It's like trying to keep a garden alive, without ever watering your own flowers. In relationships, it shows up quietly. The person who gives everything but can't receive the same love back. The friend who listens to everyone's struggles, but no one ever asks them how they're doing. The mom who carries the world and cries in the shower so no one sees. It's insecurity wearing a brave face. Jung would call this the shadow, the parts we hide just to be accepted, but we lose ourselves in the process. Here's a small but powerful shift. Make a list of the things you wish someone would do for you, and do them for yourself. A fancy coffee, a compliment in the mirror, a guilt-free offline moment. It might feel silly, but that's where the shift starts. Because when you treat yourself like a priority, the world starts to catch on. And that emotional armor, it starts to crack. In the best way. Being high-functioning has become this unspoken badge of honor. You wake up, get things done, solve problems, put out fires, and repeat. But deep down, something gets lost. Feeling. You become a kind of emotional zombie, doing everything right, but living on autopilot. And people admire that, not realizing the toll it takes. The outside world gets all your energy. Your inner world, it's starving. You ever seen someone who's always okay, but the light in their eyes is gone? They might laugh, but it's not real joy. They might love, but feel unloved. That's when the relationship with yourself starts falling apart. The insecurity isn't just emotional, it's existential. Like your soul's asleep with its eyes open, waiting for someone to ask, "Are you still in there? Want to start waking up?" Try this. Pause, on purpose, not just to rest, but to reflect. Do I still like what I'm doing? Am I living out of habit or purpose? Books like Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl help reconnect with your internal why. And when you stop just functioning and start feeling, your relationships shift too. But first, you've got to face the next uncomfortable truth. Pain doesn't vanish just because you bury it. It stays in your body, your thoughts, the way you speak, even in your silence. Jung said, "What you don't bring to consciousness will come back as fate." In other words, the feelings you ignore eventually come crashing down, often when you least expect it. By hiding your pain, you teach others it doesn't matter. That goes for romantic, family, even work relationships. The one who never complains. People stop checking in. So the real fight isn't with the world. It's with the version of you that decided silence was safer. That's when the subconscious starts screaming. For validation, for comfort, for someone to say, "I see you. Here's something to try." Write a letter you'll never send. Let it all out. The pain, the disappointments, the stuff you swallowed to seem okay. Writing is a safe way to give your feelings a voice. Before you can share your truth with someone else, you have to hear it yourself. And when you do, something shifts. And the myth of being unbreakable starts to crumble. Being the one who handles everything sounds admirable at first, but over time, it becomes a cage. Jung talked about the persona, the mask we wear to be accepted. But when that mask sticks to your face, you forget there's still a human underneath, one who feels, messes up, and sometimes just needs a hug. Here's the twist. The more invincible you seem, the less people show up for you. Your strength becomes a free pass for others to stop caring. They're fine. They've got it. But you're not fine. You've just gotten so used to the role that asking for help feels foreign. And when that happens, your world starts to feel hollow. Every myth comes with a price. This one, loneliness. Want to break the cycle? Start saying no. Say no to tasks that aren't yours. No to compliments that mask overwork. No to the fear of disappointing someone. Start small. Turn down an invite you don't want. Let someone wait. Every no from a place of truth is a yes to yourself. And that's where change begins. There comes a point when the mask gets too heavy. Your body starts talking. Random fatigue, insomnia, burnout. Your subconscious has been trying to flag you for a while, but you've been trained to ignore it. Still, you can't live numb forever. And that moment of reconnection, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And here's the wild part. The real you never left. They were just quiet, waiting for an invitation to come back. Getting back to your core self takes time. Maybe it starts with something small. A song from childhood, writing down old memories. Ask yourself, when was the last time I felt alive? The answer will come. Softly or like a punch to the gut. Your insecurity will try to sabotage it. Am I doing this right? But that's where the healing begins. Because this isn't about becoming better for others. It's about becoming whole for you. Books like The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy can help crack open that inner dialogue. So can therapy, not just to unpack the past, but to set yourself free from it. Even the tiniest acts of self-care, like walking without your phone, mindful eating, or nurturing a plant, are powerful. It's your subconscious learning to care for you. And when that happens, the world finally gets to see who you really are. There comes a time when pretending hurts more than just being real. That's when the rebellion begins, not with yelling, but with truth said out loud. It's when you finally choose to be human again. You drop the act, admit the fear, let the tears fall. Say, I'm tired of carrying it all. That's not weakness. That's raw courage. Jung would call it integration, accepting your shadow, so you can finally live whole. This kind of rebellion starts small, going to bed early, saying I'm not okay, booking a therapy session, being honest in a relationship, asking for help without guilt. It's a quiet revolution. Against years of emotional programming, against the lie that vulnerability equals failure. And every one of those acts? A spark. A flicker that lights up the parts of you that have been in the dark. And the most beautiful part? The people who really love you will finally see the real you. Choosing to be human, not just high-functioning, is revolutionary. In a world that worships performance and silences feelings, slowing down is an act of rebellion. But it's also the path to a life with more depth, more truth, more connection. Because in the end, what we want most isn't to be admired. It's to be understood. And this quiet emotional rebellion? It's the first step. You made it this far, and that says a lot. Now let me ask you something honestly. How much longer are you going to stay silent just to seem strong? How long will you keep pretending everything's fine, while life passes you by? Seeing this pattern hurts, I get it, but it's also freeing. Because now, you can choose differently. The shift begins when you decide to stop carrying what was never yours to hold. So, why not start today? Write a letter to yourself. Say no to something that's draining you. Reconnect with your real self. See a therapist. Read Jung. Or simply sit with your thoughts and listen to what your subconscious has been dying to say. Ready to rewrite your story. If this hit home for you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because we're just getting started. There's so much more we need to talk about. Things most people are too afraid to say, but that can change how you see life, relationships, and, most importantly, yourself. So, are you in? I'll see you in the next video.